Hi, everyone. It's Carol here, the founder of the Sleep Success Academy. And today I have my good friend with me here. Her name is Margi. Welcome, Margi.
Thanks, Carol. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Yeah, and so what we want to talk about today, because Margi is not only my friend, but she's also a member of the Better Sleep community. And she had been struggling with her sleep, and there was different reasons for that. But then she joined the Better Sleep community, and we wanted to share her experience of that today so that people know what to expect when they join the Better Sleep community. So why don't you start by telling people like what your sleep was like before?
Okay, so it's probably been maybe 10 years of a downhill slide with some sleep. And then being of a certain age, my aging parents needed a lot of help for me, and there was a lot of health issues and stuff for them in the past 12 to 15, 12, 16 months. And I found myself being pulled in all kinds of directions. And so that then was playing havoc on my sleep and what to do and communicating with family and a lot of responsibility that I guess at some point I knew was going to happen. But at any rate, it started to affect my sleep. And then on top of all that, then I ended up with a health thing that happened at Christmas. I ended up with an acute attack of like bursitis and was in excruciating pain, ended up having to go to emergency, et cetera, et cetera. That didn't bode well for sleeping either, because not only was
No.
the emotional stuff going on in my head that I couldn't sleep, then I also had physical pain going along with that. So I was really in a bit of a way when my blessed friend, my little angel, Carol, had offered me some help. And so in joining the Better Sleep community, I have learned a whole lot about the
Yeah.
principles of sleep, the kinds of things that affect our sleep, the kinds of things that affect you during your daily life, and just to how to, I'm going to say, be in a much better place to be able to cope better day to day. And then, oh my goodness, sleep better at night. And
Yeah.
it's been wonderful.
Yeah. And that's so
Yeah.
true because a lot of people who struggle with sleep try so many external things to help them sleep better, like darker shades or not being on their phone after a certain time or taking melatonin or doing all those things. And they're not wrong, but they're not addressing the root cause, right? Like your root cause was
Absolutely.
taking care of your aging parents, which you have to, and then the emotional upset about that
Yes.
along with the bursitis in your hip that happened, that was then the physical pain was stopping you from sleeping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really not, it's not funny. My dad's mom used to have an expression, and she'd say a 222, which is like a taking a Tylenol but with codeine. And she used to say, a 222 with a bit of codeine, Margan, just takes the edge off things and you could sleep. And certainly she's been gone a long time, but that would have been a voice I heard in my head all through that journey as my sleep kept getting worse and worse. There were lots of nights when I'd get ready to go to bed and I think, oh, I could hear my grandmother. If I just take a Tylenol, then that could, and most nights it could give me about 4 hours sleep. And some nights that was all I was getting because that's what I took. And understanding, as you say, that's not the answer to what the problems were.
Yeah, no, because once we start supplementing with external resources, we lose the confidence and the trust in our own sleep and in ourselves to be able to do what we need in order to sleep. My next question is, has your sleep improved in the 12 weeks of the program?
In the 12 weeks of the program, it absolutely has. There would be, like lots of people who suffer with sleep, I would have had many, many nights when I laid in bed in absolute frustration for an hour or two trying to fall asleep, would get up and take the melatonin or the Tylenol, or I would sleep for an hour and a half or 2 hours. I would wake up and then I couldn't turn anything off, and then would try to take Tylenol or whatever. So now I do have tools that whereby pretty much every night now I can fall asleep in a normal amount of time. In 10 or 15 minutes I can cuddle into my pillow and fall asleep, not a problem. And when I do wake in the middle of the night, I know how to work with that. I have tools to be able to help me so that I am able to get back to sleep. And and anybody who's not been through this won't understand how you're able to turn off that other voice in your head that twirls, twirls, twirls. And I used to say to people, there is no intelligent conversation happens in your head at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's absolutely not. And yet I found myself many, many, many nights for 2 or 3 hours laying in bed, obviously not talking out loud to myself, but I could hear in my
Yeah.
head all the things that I had to do that I couldn't possibly do at night, but it kept me awake. So with things that I've learned in the group and the support of the people in the group, I cannot
Yeah.
stress enough how important that's all been as well. And that's been life
Yeah.
changing. And I'm forever grateful for what I've learned and the journey that I'm on to better sleep.
Yeah. And yeah, the support of the group. We're an amazing group. We're a group that, even though we all have a different root cause, so different events in our life has caused our lack of sleep, it's all comes down to the same thing: ruminating mind, dysregulated nervous system, no tools to be able to handle everyday stressors. Like,
Yeah.
because regardless of what it is, our nervous system will all react the same way. And so some of the tools that we teach or that Margie has learned, she's learned about orienting, following our impulses. I think the biggest tool I teach though is tapping. Tapping has been so life-changing for me. And so how are you incorporating tapping in your everyday life that then allows you to sleep better?
Uh, when we do group sessions, it is absolutely wonderful. But I think I've shared with the group, I tap in the shower pretty much every day when I'm in the shower, when I just have quiet time for me. When I feel dysregulated, then I'll sit and I will tap, and I'll tap on whatever it is that has come up that at that time. And the notion to be able to listen to myself and to hear what it is that I need to do the work on, what I need to do the tapping on. So I think you've said it to all of us. The answers are here. Like, we all have the ability to fix this for ourselves. We just need to stop the merry-go-round and to listen and to do the work that needs to be done, including the tapping, to be able to change the pathways, to help change the way that we've thought about things. Because after you get past, I'm going to joke, after you get past that magic age of 29, you tend to keep doing things on repeat, and doing things on repeat is not necessarily where the answers are. If you
Yeah.
don't change something, then nothing changes. So the
Yeah.
tapping has been a really wonderful resource. I know I use tapping a lot when I walk.
Yeah.
As I don't tend to listen to a lot of music or podcasts or things when I walk. I sometimes do, but lots of times I listen to myself and I tap when I walk, and it has been life changing.
Yeah. And you're sleeping better. And so I know some of the successes that you've shared is having a very stressful day with having to deal with things for your mom who is in care. And usually that could have set you off on a frenzy for a few days, but that night you slept. You
Yes.
slept that night, right? And how amazing that the next day then you can keep doing what you need to do because your body's getting the sleep it needs.
Yes. And it makes such a total difference to start the day fresh. That some of the other, I mean, lots of people use journaling to do things, but it's something I've just come to now. I would have kept records of things, but now to actually journal about my thoughts and where I am. And a lot of that comes from just listening to what's going on, but I'm in a calmer place to be able to feel comfortable about what I'm saying, what I'm writing back to the letter I'm writing to myself. It just makes me feel
Yeah.
way more comfortable and confident in doing that. Not that it has to be right before you write it down, but thoughts are not as scattered, not as jumbled. There's
More
a different
clarity.
sequence to how things work for me,
Yeah.
which is
And
lovely.
that it's lovely because like some of the people in the group have said, like, yeah, their sleep got better, but what they really recognize is how much the rest of their life got better too. And that's my purpose with the Better Sleep community. I understand that sleep is a symptom of your life being in chaos, usually.
Yep.
And once we can calm that chaos or that out of balance in our life, once, and it doesn't mean that we have to change jobs, that we have to stop taking care of people. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means, okay, well, I'm doing it right now with an energy of dysregulation. What if I start putting time in for me? What if I start tapping on the emotions that I have? What if I start setting boundaries? We talk a lot about boundaries.
Yes.
and then fill my cup, and then I have lots to give to other people. I think that's a lot of
Yep.
us don't sleep because our cup is so empty, we've got nothing left. Yeah.
And I think sometimes like the education that you've provided for us has been really, really helpful, because when you're stuck in the muck of it, you don't know where to start, you don't know where to look, you don't know. And so the education that you've provided so that we understand what's going on in our systems, as you say, everybody comes from a slightly different place, but you understand a whole lot of how that works within, and how you can calm yourself, how you can take control of things instead of feeling like you're on the bus and it's out of control. You can feel like you are on the bus and you have a seatbelt, you know, you have your cup of tea, and you know you're
Yeah.
going to get to your destination safely.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that metaphor. You're on the bus, but you're not sitting way in the back of the bus. Like you're moving up slowly. And eventually we want you to take control of the bus, drive your own bus.
Absolutely.
And we're getting there. So the education that Margie's talking about. So the way the Better Sleep community works is it's for 12 weeks. So when people join once, they're in for life. So Margie will be joining us again for the Better Sleep Community 3.0 that starts at the first group call being June 11th, but the content will actually open up on June 9th, a few days before. And so every Saturday, you get an email with the content for the week. So you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and half of Tuesday to watch the video. Some weeks it's a half an hour. The most I think would have been like 50 minutes of content to watch prior to. And then on Tuesdays, we get together for a group training call. So we go through the material and we answer any questions that people have. And then on Thursday, we get together again for a practice. So we practice the skills that we're learning as a group. We do some tapping as a group, we do some orienting as a group, and we answer more questions of where people are. And I find that by having 2 calls a week, people don't have to come to every one of them because they're recorded and they can go back and watch. Now, I know you've had experience with going back to rewatch some calls.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you to have that resource available on the days you were struggling?
Life changing. There's been a few times that I've been sitting at I've had a day where I was really off, really dysregulated. And I would walk, and there's one day I sat at the beach and I pulled it up on my phone and I sat and I tapped on the beach. And there's been a few nights where I did wake in the middle of the night and had trouble getting back to sleep for a little bit, and got up and I started to tap. And then I would tap with the group. And sometimes it was I plugged into something that I knew was what was ruminating for me that night. And other times I just tap because I know now that just the tapping itself will help me as I'm trying to regulate where I am to be able to go back to sleep. So I have used it many times to go back.
Yeah.
It's a bit like having your favorite song on Spotify or whatever you do. But and I have to say, sometimes just hearing the voices of the people in the group that I'm familiar with, that have become my friends over the past 3 months, a really comforting, safe feeling about all that as well.
Yeah. Because when we talk about the nervous system, I'm really teaching everyone what is fight, what is flight, what is freeze. And what a lot of people don't talk about is the other state, which is social engagement. Social engagement is when we feel safe, we feel connected, and healing happens in social connection. Doesn't happen in fight, flight, or freeze. And so we really also find ways to bring more social engagement into our everyday life. And the group that we've created is that social engagement because it's people who have issues with their sleep or have things going on in their life that is affecting their sleep, and we're like-minded people because when people don't struggle with sleep, they don't understand what it's like to want to sleep but not be able to. I know that was my experience. I was so frustrated all the time, people saying, "Well, just go to bed early." And I'd be like, it's so I can lay there for an extra hour without sleep, right? So I think that's what we bring to each other in this group is the support because even myself, this is why I do this work because I struggle with sleep really bad. And I sleep well now and I know it's possible. So we're getting there with the people in the group. And I want to invite other people. If you're ready to do something about your sleep, reach out, join the Better Sleep Community 3.0. Margie, what would you have to say to people who are on the fence? Like they want to join, but they're like not sure. Like, what would they gain out of this program?
I can't say it's as simple as you've got nothing to lose, because that's not it at all. But I think when you join, you become a part of something bigger than yourself, and you become empowered. You become empowered to take back the things that you've lost. And I know, but there's lots of people my age who figure that it's just part of life. You just sleep less. As people age, they sleep less. But it's not that you sleep less because you're older. It's because you got way more stuff that ruminates through your head, and way more stuff
Yes.
that you, not that you wish you could redo or that you would change going ahead, but and you're just not sure. So with the, as I said, with the education, with the fellowship, with the teamwork, with the group that we have, with the social engagement that we have, it does make a tremendous difference to have that kind of confidence back in your step, about your sleep, because there might be lots
Yeah.
of things about your life that you feel really confident about, but once you've experienced an extended period of time where you didn't sleep, trying to believe that you're going to sleep again for 7 or 6 or 7 hours is truly a bit of a stretch for lots of us, but it can happen.
It can happen, and it has been
Yeah.
happening. And last night on the group call, what was so cool is we were doing some tapping on not trusting our sleep. And, one of the members, as we're doing tapping, she was like, but my sleep doesn't really trust me either, because I'm not doing the things that my sleep needs in order for it to come. And so there she was like, aha, right? Like, oh, okay, it's a relationship I'm in with my sleep. And if I'm not going to do my part, then my sleep's not going to do its part. So then with compassion, what is her part? And for her, it was really about doing more self-care. She takes care of everybody else and not herself. And feelings doing self-care is selfish. So some tapping on that. And all of a sudden it's like, no, like I'm going to do what I need to do in order to sleep well tonight. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. So if you guys are ready to join the Better Sleep Community 3.0, even if you're watching this after we've started, it's not too late, because you come in where you're at and then you keep coming back for the next 12 weeks. I know that if you've struggled for sleep for a while, that if you want a real fix, like a lasting fix, it takes more than 12 weeks. And my hope in the 12 weeks is to teach you everything that you need to know in order then to become your own sleep guru. Because I want people to be able to do this on their own at some point, but I'm there to guide them and empower them, because they need to be empowered themselves. But I'm the seeing eye dog or guide dog, whatever you call that. That's
Guide
what
dog,
I'm here
guide dog.
for. And guide dog, I'm here to guide you so that you can figure out what really is at the root of your sleep issues. Because a lot of people think it's one thing, but it really isn't. It's something else. We do that all together. So the link is in the description below. Once you get on the page, if you choose that you want to have a conversation with me, there is a place to actually chat with me, book a call, and then I can tell you more if the program is right for you. Any last words before we disconnect?
I hope we have some new members join our 3.0, because I don't think you'll regret joining the sleep, because Carol was a wonderful guide to help you find your way out of the sleepless nights.
Yeah, yeah, from experience. So, all right, goodbye, everybody.